Thank you very much. My name is Jessie Bessler. I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement at Notre Dame High School. We're here with Elena Kakadell, who's Director of Annual Giving, and Tyler Delorenzo, class of 2012. Tyler is the owner of Delorenzo's The Berg in Levittown. What's the address here, Tyler?
8919 New Falls Road, Levittown, PA.
So Tyler is a family friend, and I wrangled him into doing a guest host of a cooking show for us. I hope you don't feel guilty into doing that, but and we're excited to have him teach us. But I just want to give you a little bit of background on Tyler. I said 2012 graduate of Notre Dame High School. Delorenzo's has a storied history in Trenton, perfecting the tomato pie. You learned from your grandfather and
my uncle.
And their other family members who have different Delorenzo's restaurants throughout the area. Over 75 years with making pizza and serving this community, and Tyler's been able to pass that tradition down and brought it over the bridge into Pennsylvania. He worked at Delorenzo's on Hamilton Avenue in Trenton for his Uncle Rick and his grandfather for 5 years before they closed. Before they closed on Hamilton Avenue, and they moved out to Sloan Avenue in Hamilton. While that was being set up, you were going to school?
Yeah, culinary school. I did a management program, and then after that, I did a full culinary program. It was a 2-year program, 1 year management. Next year was all cooking. Every day. Every day.
Gotta love cooking to do that. And then you created your food truck.
Yeah, I worked at a couple places actually. I worked I internship at Enoterra in Princeton for about a year, and then while I was working on the food truck, getting that started, I also worked at Gnocchi's in Newtown. It's a deli diner. I was just line cook there, and then I also helped with Fat Shack in Ewing for a couple months, and that was too much. That was too much. There till 4 o'clock in the morning every Friday and Saturday. So
it was cooking every hour of every day.
Pretty much, yeah. And
it's not the restaurant when they take over at night for the college kids.
Yeah. Doing all fat sandwiches, and it was fun. It was interesting, but it's just a lot of grease. It was a lot.
When did you have the pull to open your own place?
Actually, my management program, the whole objective of the course was to have a business plan at the end. My business plan was a food truck. I didn't think I was going to use it, but one day I figured, I want to do something on my own, and I pulled out the business plan from school, and that's how it got started. I just followed that and just kept going with it.
You must have got A on the business plan.
Yeah, I think so. I can't even remember. Yeah, I pieced it together, and I said I didn't even think about using it until a couple years after, and I still had it. I found it, and that's actually what I made in school is what I presented to the bank. And
wow.
Yeah. So.
And you still have the food truck.
Yeah. The original one I had, I actually sold. The first year I was here, I bought another food truck. So I had 2 trucks the first 2 years I was here, and then I sold the original one. It was just too much, two problems at one time with 2 different trucks. So I still have 1 truck, and we do weddings, birthdays, graduations. Hey, if you want a food truck, pizza truck, we'll be there.
Perfect. And you come from a family of Notre Dame alumni as well.
Yeah. My dad, my aunt, my uncle.
Your brother and sister?
Yeah, my brother and my sister. Forgot about them. My brother graduated, I guess, 17.
Yep.
And then my sister was 14.
Dad is 1979.
Okay, yeah. My dad actually presented me with my diploma at graduation.
Which is a wonderful, special thing that we do at Notre Dame for our parents of alumni. We feel proud to be able to offer that opportunity.
Yeah,
to
that
our
was
alumni.
pretty cool.
And we're proud to be able to do this here with you tonight. So thank
I'm
you so
excited.
much for teaching us. So without further ado, we're gonna get to cooking, and I'm gonna, can you use your go-go gadget arms and grab the camera
Yes.
for me?
Oh.
That's all right. Sorry, people. Nope, we're good. All right, so Tyler, get us started. What's our first?
All right, so first we'll start with the gnocchi dough. It's pasta dough. Pasta dough is not as complicated as you may think. It's really just flour and eggs. So first we'll put it's a cup of flour. Yeah, all-purpose flour. Plus, you could probably, on my way here, I was thinking you probably even use a gluten-free flour. With the gnocchi, it's all about like the texture of the dough. So we'll just make little caves for the eggs. I already have 3 egg yolks already cracked.
Just the yolk.
And ready to go. Just the yolk. I can show everyone how to crack an egg and split the yolk. I always.
Here you go, sir.
Thank you.
You're a great sous chef.
I always crack it on a flat surface instead of like on the edge of a bowl. So and just enough to crack it, and you'll see it kind of cracks open, and then you just want to pull it apart, catch the yolk on one side, and then just kind of let the yolk.
Or you can use one of those kitchen. There's
Sieve.
like a
Is there a
sieve.
tool for
Yeah,
it? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Strainer.
My mom taught me this way. Why buy a
And
piece
just
of something when you can?
Go
You
back
got
and
it right
forth
there.
with the egg.
And you just want the yolks, not the
Just the
white.
yolk.
Just the yolks, yeah. So I say I already have 3 cracked here. I'll just put that down, and we'll just put those in there.
So why the cave?
I'll
Okay.
show you in
Oh,
a
the
second.
well.
You make a well.
Yeah, but when you go to mix it, you mix it so it stays. So you're only taking in like a little bit of the flour at a time.
Ah,
But we're actually, if you want to throw in the grated cheese,
how much was that, Tyler?
I think like a quarter, 3/4 cup.
I can't see. Next page. Three-quarters. Three-quarters of a cup.
3/4 of a cup. So we can just shake that in with the flour. And then, like I said, what you did with the mound there and put the egg in, so you just want to kind of go around,
Slowly
slowly
incorporate.
mix it in. And then too, once you get your ricotta in there, it's just gonna kind of
Add some moisture.
yeah, break the egg up, mix it around, mix in the grated cheese. You can add the
How much ricotta?
1.5 cups. Just kind of do the same thing. You just
One
want
and a
to
half cups.
you just want to work in the flour into the ricotta.
And
It's not going to seem like it's coming together, but it will.
Tyler, this will feed how many?
That's about a pound.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah, I would say maybe 3 or 4 people. You can add a little salt, yeah.
And it called for 3/4 of a teaspoon.
So you can always add more salt at the end. Like I said, when I cook, I don't put a lot of salt. I'd rather just put it in at the end if I really need it.
Pea pepper.
I have a little bit right there actually in that cup.
1/4 of a teaspoon.
So now we probably want to just do it by hand together.
11.
Yes.
Oh, I can feel it.
Yeah,
It's
just
nice and soft.
yeah, and you're just kind of just folding it all together.
Just right.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it sticky? It's soft, definitely soft.
Did you do all 3 egg yolks?
Only 3.
Okay, thank you.
Like a large egg?
Yeah, there's ones I
They
have
were
are
large
large
eggs. Don't want to overmix this, right, Tyler?
No, you won't overmix
I
it.
won't?
No.
So I always thought gnocchi was stuffed with something. It's mixed with it then.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't make it with ricotta cheese. They use a potato.
Ta-da! Beautiful.
Yeah, and you can work it a little bit more, so it comes a little bit more together. This is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Good job. If you ever need a sous chef, call me. I'm free on the weekend.
All right. Yeah, this actually came together really nice.
Potato pasta, somebody said.
And you could it's a little sticky. We could probably add a little bit more flour to it if your dough is too sticky. Just kind of like eye it out. And then just fold it in a little bit more.
It's so typical of a trained culinary artist to just say, "Ooh, a little." I like exact. I need a cup, and if it didn't, I would say it's ruined.
You should be a baker then.
Oh, because baking is more precise,
Baking
right?
is precise, yeah.
Yeah.
Still maybe a little sticky. So we can just add a little bit more flour. Same thing, just fold it all in.
This is giving me agita.
So after you eat it, you're gonna get real hot. So what should it feel like? Like Play-Doh when you touch it, how it doesn't stick to your finger?
Yeah, like a Play-Doh. And
I can't, it's not sticking in my hands. So I can't do it.
yeah,
You can't
this-
really tell when you wear gloves. You can't feel it.
See how
See how
it's
it's sticking?
yeah,
you
see,
need more
it's
flour.
really
Yeah.
Is it
sticky
because
a little
it's
bit.
hot?
No, it's just
Maybe the ricotta was
It's-
really wet.
yeah, it's or we put maybe a little
much.
bit more ricotta.
Uh-huh,
So you can see it
Yeah.
really sticking.
That's a good example though. If anybody else's is sticking like that. Let's add more flour.
So it's almost maybe 2 tablespoons additional that you've added.
Extra,
But
yeah,
it's
and
all-
then you'll
Yeah,
see
it's
even
still
too
not-
that when we go to roll it out, you might even need a little bit more flour because it'll stick on you a little bit more.
Now, if you were gonna make potato gnocchi, what would you put the potatoes as opposed to the ricotta cheese?
Yeah. The only thing you're subbing out is just the ricotta cheese. You'd have to boil the potatoes.
And then rice them.
Yeah,
let
yes,
'em really
yeah.
fine.
Just make mashed
Mashed,
potatoes.
Just mashed.
Yeah.
Well, that looks good.
You would want to get it to the consistency of kind of just ricotta cheese. Yeah, that's.
That looks good. Everybody's looks like this, right? All right, where are we going? Down that way?
We can do everything still right here.
Where you, oh, you can roll out here. Oh, you have that. Meanwhile, on the stove top, I'm not watching because my mom said a watch pot never boils.
Probably turn it down a little bit still, just
Yes,
so we're not starting it from when it's ice cold.
it's like making a roux with your egg, somebody said. A roux?
The roux is flour and
Yeah.
And now do we do
Yes.
roll now?
Yeah.
I like a roux.
Now, you can either cut it or you could just rip off a piece. You don't want to do the whole piece at one time, obviously. I would take, maybe like a little less than a quarter of it. If it's still too sticky, you can add the flour as you're rolling it out.
So by hand, not rolling pin.
No, just by hand. I actually learned this in ceramics class at Notre Dame, how to make a
Mrs.
coil.
Tomasi?
Yeah, Mrs. Tomasi, yeah. I was in advanced ceramics.
Oh,
So
you know,
you
mine's
just,
slipping.
if it's slipping, don't add any more flour.
Do you
Sometimes
press
so-
hard?
Give it a little squirt,
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So if it's
like mine did, got
see,
too
mine
dry.
is a little too sticky. Whereas this one, it's a little too dry with the flour. So if you have a water bottle or even just like a wet paper towel, you can just moisten it a little bit.
Okay, much
Oh,
better.
And then,
it's
yeah,
rolling
it'll-
smoother.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll kind of grip it.
And you would do that with clay too, right? In Mr.
Yeah,
Tomasi's class.
yeah.
We have somebody in here is Miss Tomasi's cousin. She's an alum.
You want to get it all the same.
Yeah, you want to get it all the same so it, when you
Like a
go to
worm?
cook it, it
Oh, that
Cooks
the water
evenly.
definitely made a difference.
and it's just a little bit of water. You don't need a lot. That's why I said like a little just a damp paper towel. And then if it gets too sticky on you, just add a little bit of flour.
What was that? Miss
Nothing.
Gagavant? Are you
Showing me
are
up.
you egging on the chef?
One Italian too, we're not.
Have you made gnocchi, Elena?
No, I've never made gnocchi.
Really?
No.
Normally don't make gnocchis either.
No?
This isn't my, actually, I learned this recipe from a class that I took at my school. It wasn't part of my curriculum. I just went back and took like an extra class. This is one of the recipes that they had. My dad really likes it, so I think he's watching. He's probably not making it. He's probably just
Critiquing?
critiquing or laughing at me. And then when he comes in this week, he'll ask for them.
That's
Oh, do you have any more of those gnocchis?
That's funny.
That's so cute. I like when he says it, gnocchis.
Gnocchi.
No.
I will
Gnocchi.
be there tomorrow.
Ah.
Is that it? Am I too thick?
Well, maybe a little bit. Might not do.
It's about the jelly, right?
Well, they just have to cook a little longer.
Are you
When I
cooking or
was-
watching, Bob?
He ain't cooking.
He's not
How
cooking.
am I doing?
I'm watching, critiquing.
Your dad a chef
How's
too?
he doing?
He's doing fine.
Fine. I think
Fine,
that's
just fine. I'd say he's doing a good job. How's everybody else doing? Are you all following along well? Are we moving too fast or too slow?
All's
If you, okay, good. So you just keep making your worms.
Yeah, that'll be the easiest instead of doing it all
It-
and like doing coiling one and then chopping it up. Like, I mean, if I was, really in a hustle to do these, I would line them all up like this and have just one
take the
big knife
chopper,
and
yeah.
just, chop them all up.
So it's all about the feel.
Yeah. I mean, you want to be able, it does you want it to be a little sticky, but not.
Yeah.
I said, especially just when you're doing this. After we actually have them coiled out,
There more?
if they're,
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 9 of the average length. That's a long one.
Now the next thing you want to do, you just want to cut them up into your pieces, and I can show you how to put the marks in them for a real authentic gnocchi. The ones I made the other day, I just skipped the whole fork and
It's not necessary. It's just to make it look pretty.
yeah, instead of having just a blob, pasta, it just puts a little design on it.
Show us
Okay.
anyway. Is everybody
Okay.
with us? Are we on, is everybody following us or do we need to wait a bit?
I just have a quick question. The size that we roll it out to and cut it off, are they going to expand more or are they pretty much going to be the size, bite size? Like, should I
They're gonna
roll
be-
it thinner?
They're not going to like absorb that much water where they're going to expand to, they're not going to expand that much. They're going
Okay.
to stay relatively,
Around that
this size.
So
Um,
bite size, I'm going to roll them
yeah,
out to.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
thank you.
the smaller you coil them, the quicker they're going to cook.
Okay,
And you'll know too, when you do come to cooking them, taste one, take a bite out of it, and you can tell if it'll be raw on the inside. But to cook these, you just put them in the water until they float. Let them float for 30 seconds to a minute, so they're cooked. And then they're gonna be done.
We have some requests to slow down and wait a bit, so.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Tyler, how thick are we rolling them? Did you have a half an inch or?
Like a half an
finger.
inch round.
It's like your
Yeah,
Okay.
like a,
Yeah, like your finger.
yeah, like there,
Oh, it's like a thumb.
there's,
Thumb.
there's my finger.
Good, perfect, thank you.
Not everybody's working with a sous chef. We get it. A good sous chef. A good sous chef, for sure. Certainly.
So I mean, if
This one's a little
Like-
off. You could start over.
well, yeah, you can start it. You could throw it back into a ball,
Like that.
and it's gonna go back to this. I mean,
Ours is
your
still
coil
very
can be,
Add more flour.
Keep adding flour if
Yeah.
yours is sticky.
your coil can be, as thick as you want it to be. It's just gonna take a little bit longer to cook.
Just add the flour a little at a time,
Yeah, you just want to sprinkle the flour
just to
on.
sprinkle it, right? Just, yeah. Because it'll come together real quick, so just a little bit.
Like I was throwing it down and like rolling it on.
You're adding it by rolling it
Yeah.
into it.
Now that one's dry.
Sticking that stuff. It's sticky there. Wallpaper paste. Oh. I see Maggie cooking. Oh, you took the gloves off. There's her water boiling.
That's mine is boiling too. I'm ready.
I don't, I can hear her noise. I'm not sure. All right, so, is everybody okay if we move on to the next step? Just so you know, we are recording this and I will email it out, after tonight's meeting. I'll send everybody out a link to the video to watch it. We'll put it on Notre Dame's YouTube channel, and then Tyler might even put it on the Berg's website, which is,
delostheberg.com.
all right.
Or our Facebook. We really use Facebook. Our website isn't normally up to date, but Facebook we're always
Yeah,
posting
your
on.
specials and
Yes,
whatnot are on
yeah.
there.
Tyler, I'm getting a question. Do you use marinara or tomato sauce or meat sauce?
We're gonna make a tomato sauce, right?
Yeah, well,
You could use whatever you want.
yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, a tomato sauce, like the marinara sauce that I have here already has onions, garlic, and basil cooked into it. if I use just our pizza sauce, which is just plain tomato sauce, nothing added to it, when you go to make your sauce, you can add onions and the garlic there.
Right.
And just, you know, a little bit of basil just to make your sauce there. But as I put jarred tomato sauce, because then it's already going to have the flavors in it. You don't have to worry about sauteing onions, garlic. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't, we could use just a plain, you know, can of tomato sauce. And I said, as long as you're putting onions and garlic, it's
Right.
still it's gonna give you the flavor from that.
You can even
Um,
make a white sauce too, or is
Okay.
that too heavy?
Well, what we're gonna do with the cream,
Well,
it's gonna be like
cream
a
in this.
a
so
pink, it's gonna be a pink
A pink
sauce,
sauce.
like a vodka sauce, but
Mm.
without the vodka and the prosciutto.
Right.
That's all it's gonna. It's just like a pink sauce.
Got it. Got it.
Thank
All
you.
right. So let's get chopping.
All right. So this here, this part is where you might need some flour too, because you'll see when you go to cut, and you want to make your cut around like an inch. So that doesn't have to be perfect. That's kind of about the size you want to go for.
It's like a pretzel nugget.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then also at this point,
Should you?
So
dip
you
your
left,
knife
your-
in the
you left
flour?
yours like that.
I left mine just like that. I didn't do any fork design. Now with the flour, I can show you in a second, but
Oh, you rolled it with the fork.
yeah, it's kind of,
Mhm.
yeah. And you want to, it's like you're pressing down and letting it roll.
See, it's indenting.
Yeah.
It's a cookie cutter. It's really decoration. You're not.
No, you're not. You're really letting it flour if it's too sticky. That one came out good.
That's pretty.
But you're really just pressing and letting it like slide. So you're getting those grooves on there.
Somebody asked,
Yeah,
is another word for pink sauce frizzole? Is there another word for pink sauce?
Frizzolona.
Frizzolona? We're not sure. I just always thought pink sauce was tomato with cream.
Yeah, just tomato and cream sauce. I've never really called it anything else. And here at this point too,
Oh, that one came out good.
yeah. If you want to put your gnocchis off to the side in like a bowl, just to get them out of the way. And here's where you're also going to want to add flour. And you could be generous at this point too, because we're going to end up shaking it all off. But that's just so as they're sitting here, they're not going to clump up on you. They're not going to turn into a big
Get
clump.
stuck to each other.
Yeah, but then before we put them in the water, we'll end up shaking all the extra flour off.
Yeah. It's harder than it looks, Tyler.
It's Band-Aid on my hand.
But it really doesn't matter. I mean, truly, you can
No.
just chop your
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
cord up.
this would take you 2 hours to do all these.
But Nana used to do it like this really fast.
Yeah.
Did you
I
say
was just
Nana?
gonna say,
Nana, that's
God-
grandma.
there's a Scene
Everyone's
about
got-
the Godfather 3.
It's all different techniques too. Everyone's got their own.
Don't call me Fredo.
No, Andy Garcia does it in Godfather 3.
You just like Andy Garcia.
Yes, I do. Anytime I get to say Andy Garcia, I'm not gonna lie. Elena, your Nana made these?
Nona is grandmother for many.
No, I know. I know. Did Elena's Nona make these? Elena's
Yeah.
grandma make these?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did your grandmother cook or did she just let your grandfather cook?
No, she did the cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't. I don't think I ever seen him cook at home.
If he wasn't at the casinos.
Yeah.
Tyler, it's Mrs. Layton. I have a question. If I made extra dough, can I refrigerate it?
Yeah, you can refrigerate it. Even after you make the gnocchis, they freeze really, really well.
Okay.
You can freeze the dough or put it in the refrigerator. I mean, if you just want to coil them out and just chop them up instead of skipping that, you skip the whole fork thing, just chop them up, put them in some flour,
Okay.
and then just freeze them. I actually have some frozen ones here. Yeah, I did these the other day,
Oh, okay.
yesterday. They're all
Frozen to the
frozen.
pan.
But see, I didn't do any design on them. They're just kind of little dough balls.
You can give those to your dad.
Yeah, these are the ones he'll be getting.
I'll take them. Sue.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi,
I'm
Sue.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Nice to be seen.
Yeah.
This is great. I'm so happy. And nobody mentioned he was a hockey player for 4 years at Notre Dame.
There you go.
Tyler, do you
He
package
wasn't exactly the
sauce?
best one, but he played on the
Yeah,
team.
we do package our sauce. Yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Sellers.
Leave it to his sellers.
Hey, what's up, Miss Sars?
Chris?
The other Chris Sellers.
Yeah, that was your D partner, Tyler. You're welcome for that one.
Oh, yes.
What's up?
Who's that? Matt?
Chris?
Is that Chris or Matt with you?
We
Chris?
can't tell. You're not in the shot.
Oh, it's Chris.
It's
Yeah.
Chris. Yay.
Where's no wine drinking here, you guys? Elena, that's not like you.
I'm not drinking anything.
No.
I'm drinking yours, Chris.
Very good, Maggie. Cheers.
So, as far as wines are concerned, we spoke to a sommelier, and he recommended that crisp Italian wines like Pinot Grigio and Pecorino pair very well with gnocchi and tomato sauce. You can also choose a light Italian red like a Chianti, or even a mature Barbera d'Asti or a Riesling. I like a Riesling. It's sweeter. You're not a wine,
No.
not a wine guy?
Try.
I'll take a Coca-Cola.
No
I
thanks.
love a Coca-Cola.
His dad, Bob. So I apologize. I was remiss in introducing our boss, Maggie Kelly. She's kind of been helping us along. You might have seen her. She's got the blue Notre Dame sweatshirt. Maggie is senior vice president at Notre Dame and kind of made all of this possible for us. So I apologize, Mag.
No,
We're fired.
don't come in tomorrow, Jesse.
We weren't,
I
don't
got
worry.
the day off.
You don't have to introduce me. This is really, COVID has forced us to rethink a lot of things and the way we do a lot of things. But some of these things, I think, are some of these events, like this one right here, poor Tyler's going to faint. We want to continue going forward way past COVID because these workshops have been an
It's
amazing
so much fun.
opportunity to connect with alumni, parents of alumni. It's been a wonderful experience. And so we'll keep going with these way past being masked. So.
That's a good way past being masked. That's good.
Too. If
It's working. There's a
If you put some more,
convenience
like,
to
flour on it,
having
just
this.
let it
And
slide.
it's really,
more like
really
your,
great. Maybe Tyler can teach us chicken
Like, don't
saltimbocca
be
or
afraid
something.
to really press into it so you get those. It's almost like you're just sliding instead of rolling.
Oh,
Let it
okay.
like slide, and it's
Should you
eventually
flour
gonna
your
roll.
fork? Definitely
You
so.
could flour to. Well, think if you're curl, like if you're doing a portion, you want it to stick up.
Maggie, did you do this part already?
I did. I'm ready.
Ah.
I'm ready. I hear my water boiling in the background.
Bobby copyright his recipes.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
Tyler,
a full recipe.
I'm getting a question for Tyler. Does he package his sauce and pasta?
Not the pasta. We don't use a lot of fresh. We don't use fresh pasta. We use the Checo brand pasta. Supposedly the better
Yes.
brand pasta. We do package our sauce, the marinara sauce, our vodka sauce. We have it in our freezer up here. We also have frozen pies, a couple different varieties of the frozen pies.
Do you ship too, Tyler?
Not really. It's really expensive to
Yeah.
ship. I've had a couple people. I think I've shipped maybe 2 times to
Yeah.
people, and I have them pay for the shipping. It's they have to be overnighted. I did send pies actually to Barstool Sports.
Oh.
He opened them, but he just kind of threw them off to the side. I don't think he knew they were pizzas.
Well, you have to cook them.
Yeah, well, the way they were boxed, he was just ripping through stuff, and he did see it. He opened it, but I never saw a review for him. But no, it was during.
Well, he's got to have fresh
COVID.
pie. We got to get him here.
Yeah. But yeah, I said just shipping is really tough.
Yeah.
It's really got to be next day or 2 day, and if it's 2 day, it's got to be packaged right with like dry ice. If it's not
Right.
dry ice is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But then it's more expensive to ship with dry ice.
So the best is just come here and get a fresh pie for
That's
yourself
right.
and a frozen one to go.
Yeah, we're taking
There you go.
Do you make
Or bid on the
gluten-free?
pizza truck at the auction and it could come to your house.
That's a great idea.
We don't make the gluten-free crust, but we do have them.
Hmm.
A couple girls who work for me are gluten-free. They love them. Customers say we have the best gluten-free pie. It's just our normal toppings and a pizza shell that we
Right.
get to buy. It's nothing, gourmet, fancy. But it's just what they have.
That's not
So-
easy to do. They're either really good or they taste like cardboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good that you
I'm
got
not gluten-free. I eat them, and I really don't like them. I think they taste like cardboard.
Yeah.
But
But if you make a good one, somebody gluten-free will appreciate that. Tyler,
Exactly.
I have
And
one more
I think-
question. Do you use Porfirio's from Anderson Street?
No.
Okay.
I mean, growing up, that's where we get our sauce from. My parents, we go to Porfirio's and get their sauce, their meatballs. But no, since being here, I
Okay.
haven't been there in a while.
You're right. Now you just make your own.
That's
yeah,
right.
I just make my own.
I think I finally got it.
Where they make it for me here. And I
Yeah.
take it home.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of sugar goes into the tomato sauce, right?
Yes, yeah, not our pizza sauce, but the tomato sauce here. They'll use actually either sugar or white wine.
Ooh.
The white wine.
And it's to cut the sour, right, of the
Oh, look at that
tomato.
one. The last one I did finally was a
Bingo.
good one.
Yeah, the acid.
I did it off the back of the fork like you did.
These look beautiful.
Yeah, you can make them really nice.
Very nice. All right, guys. So add more flour to that, or
Yeah. See how they're kind of clumping up just because they've been sitting here.
And then the water pumped up, they're gonna come out pumped up.
Yeah. So I guess if you use your extra flour you have, and you can be generous with this, you're not mixing it anymore. It's just so that they don't stick.
Tyler, when do you use semolina flour? It's another question from your audience.
Um,
Or not.
Or do you?
I'm not a pasta
The
dough
bread
expert.
flour, isn't it?
I would say semolina flour would be more for like
Like bread, right?
a bread or like a dried pasta.
Okay.
I'm sure you can incorporate it some way into a fresh pasta dough, but I've never really handled semolina flour.
More pretty, right?
Yeah. I like I said, I've never really, like I said, have any experience with semolina flour. I said, I mean, I would think it's all about like the consistency. You know, if you use semolina flour or use the gluten-free flour, you still want to have this consistency of like the
Right.
sticky,
Texture.
yeah,
Puffy
sticky.
dough.
You know, with the flour, it dries it out just a little bit, and it's very. I said, you can always.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
So is it time to boil?
Do the sauce.
Okay,
probably.
so let's work the
Yeah.
sauce.
The sauce. All right.
All right, you tell me what you want.
All right. So.
All right, so once you have your gnocchi rolled out, you can put it aside, and we're gonna work on sauce now. So if you came in late to our to the meeting, one item that we forgot to put in the recipe was about a quarter of a stick of butter, and it's really just to
It's a fat. So if you don't have butter, you can just use oil. Prefer cream sauce. I think the oil gives it more like a bitter taste, whereas the butter just kind of like a
salted or non-salted.
salted, whatever you prefer.
Less salt to put it in the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
So
How much,
Yeah, you
how much, excuse me, how much butter did he say?
Quarter
looks
of a
like
stick?
quarter of a stick.
Yeah.
I love butter. So you want to get your pan real hot. You don't want to add your butter and then turn the pan on.
In school I always learned hot pan, cold oil.
Okay.
And then you wait obviously until the oil heats up. But the butter you'll see real quick.
Oh, wow.
It might be too hot, so you just turn the flame down. You don't want to burn the butter.
I've done that.
When you want this here.
Like I do it when I do onions. I burn the butter right away.
It turned brown a little bit. It was probably a little too hot, but just take it off the heat and let it cool down.
When I get it.
Onion.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a little bit of onion. About how much? Really, it looks like a quarter of a cup, maybe less than.
Yeah.
This is garlic,
Garlic.
minced garlic.
Yeah, just minced chopped garlic. If you have just a garlic clove at home, instead of mincing it sitting there, you could just
And then
smash the garlic and then just kind of chop it up from there.
Hanging.
Really just going to be your flavor. You know, you're not, even if you just put one garlic clove in there and then at the end took it out just to get the flavor in there, that garlic is going to, you know, be incorporated.
Oh, I love that idea. That's a great idea, Tyler. I love that.
Under the shade.
All right, so your mushrooms are chopped up about a cup,
I said,
cup and a half.
yeah,
maybe?
a whole pack of mushrooms.
But if you really like mushrooms, you said add more, right? Like, and can you use canned? I prefer canned mushrooms. I
I
love
don't
canned
like canned
mushrooms.
I would
I
think.
used to take my own cans to Delorenzo and they make my
No.
mushrooms.
Excuse me, I'm a little behind. Are we, do we already add the garlic and onions?
Angela.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Angela.
Garlic and onions.
Sharon, how are
and
you?
mushrooms.
I'm fine. Am I supposed to add the garlic and the onions now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm behind.
Onions first,
Sharon, I'll talk-
first, and then the garlic.
Maggie, can you read Donna's chat?
It's like 71 people.
I don't see Donna's chat.
Somebody say, can you do a quick
That's the first I
review?
saw Angela.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. I see it right now. Okay, can we do a quick review of what to add? So, Tyler, do you want to do this? Do you
You
want
want
me
to
to do
start?
it?
Start with your butter, your oil. Just let that melt in the pan, and then you can add everything all at one time. You just want to saute it down so the mushrooms cook down. The mushrooms are going to cook more in the sauce too, but you just want to kind of brown everything up. Make sure the onions start to caramelize a little bit. See the garlic, it's turned brown. It's not burnt, but it's, you can smell it all.
Right.
And then I said the mushrooms, I just want to brown them up, get them soft.
Use a mushroom whitener.
Mushroom what?
Whitener?
So that's yeah, I can answer this one actually, and Tyler, stop me if I'm wrong. Do not wash mushrooms.
Really?
Take
Yeah, you don't want to wash them.
no, take a damp paper towel and you can.
Yeah, you just want to wipe them off. Mushrooms
Right.
are
Wipe
90%
'em off.
water anyway.
Correct.
So if you just add more water to it,
Right.
It's just going to be a very watery dish. Like when we
Exactly.
cook a mushroom pizza, water actually comes out of the mushrooms. If you get a mushroom pizza and you use fresh mushrooms, it tends to get a little soggy, and that's why you would use canned
That's why you
mushrooms.
use
because
canned, right?
mushrooms are already
Do you use canned mushrooms on your pizza?
No, they don't. That's why I come with my can.
like a lot of places don't pre-cook their fresh mushrooms, and it drains all the water.
Right. Right.
And then that way, when you put it on a pie, it's not going to keep all
Right.
the water coming out. From the mushroom.
I see.
Yeah, back in old school, I think my grandma had mushroom whitener. I think so, but just take a wet paper towel and brush the caps. Don't submerge them. Don't wash them.
Never knew.
What is mushroom whitener? Is it a
I
chemical?
think it was an old wash that you could put your mushrooms in with water in a cup or in a container or something. I think I remember that, but I could be wrong. But I think that's what it was, and I think that vinegar washes and things replace that, but a mushroom should not be washed.
All right, what just happened?
I had the tomatoes.
How much?
It was about a
Cup and a half.
quart.
Oh,
A half a quart. That's a half a quart of tomato sauce.
definitely.
So if you have a jar of tomato sauce, I figured there's probably about a quart. I'm gonna put half of that in.
Oh, that smells so good. Dying. I like
No, good.
Now here you want to see it starting to bubble around the sides.
Do chefs not use spoons?
Not really.
They just
Really?
keep shaking
Yeah.
the pan.
Yeah. You'll see when we put the cream in. And I could use a spoon.
No, I'm just asking.
But you want the whole, wait till it starts to bubble in the middle here. That way your sauce is hot. And it's just cooking everything. It's adding flavor. Let it cook.
Heavy cream is coming out next.
And then with the heavy cream, you don't want to add the cream in when it's boiling.
Oh, because what will happen? They'll curdle?
It curdles, yeah. So you just want to lower the heat or just take it off. And then,
I don't cook with a lot of cream. No, I've never.
or just you can lower the heat.
I've never made cream. No, I don't.
And then you could slowly add the cream in.
How much?
However creamy as you want it. So you can add some cream and we can mix it around, shake it around.
But you can use a spoon,
Yeah.
right? Like, because the normal person like me would need to use a spoon, or I'd have
So I have a
tomato
spoon
sauce
here.
all over the kitchen.
So just mix
We
it
do
around.
light cream or heavy cream? Can we do a light cream?
You can do a light
Heavy
cream.
cream.
But
Okay.
this is heavy.
Yeah, heavy cream is just gonna, make it a little thicker. But also too, just let it boil down a little bit more, and it's gonna reduce and thicken up kind of on its own. So
So you could add your prosciutto for your
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your sun-dried tomatoes in that.
I mean
I did more.
we could probably add a little bit more cream to it.
You want it really like
That's real pink. That's pretty. Sheila, you want to come to the kitchen?
making some low-cal pasta, Sheila.
Yeah, we're not talking about the calories in this because
There are no calories. The calories have been removed courtesy of Tyler. all of our calories.
Yeah, you can add more water. Might be enough though.
Okay. Yeah. How's it look?
And you just want to let it cook
We're
down, let it
boiling
thicken
though.
up.
Is there a certain kind of frying saucepan that you should use for this?
No, a non-stick would be best. I guess depending on how much you want to clean up.
Yeah.
I just
That's a good
from
answer.
here, I know that when we do the pastas here, cream sauce, we always add actually a lot of cheese too. And then cleaning this pot is going to be a real pain in the butt, just because it just gets real sticky. But
So do you add cheese to this?
Yeah,
or you're
yeah,
talking-
just
Yes,
waiting
really
to
good.
ask.
Food chef to the rescue.
So we're adding Parmesan or pecorino? What is
It's
that?
grated Parmesan, whatever. It's a grated cheese. You can
So
even
how much
add.
cream again?
You can,
Cream was
About a half a cup.
Half
Half
a
a
cup,
cup.
thank you.
and just you can add it until you get the color that you want.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. So, but it's gotten darker as we've gone along.
Yeah,
well, it's as it cooks
it's,
up.
yeah, it's all cooking down, and then you can add some cheese to it, and that's going to help thicken it up as well. And then also your pasta water is going to thicken it up too. When you dump the pasta in, save a little bit of the water, the flour that was in it, and then just the starch is, it's going to help thicken up everything.
So use the boiling water to.
Yeah. You always want to add a little bit of pasta water to your pasta. It's just like a natural thickener. The starches, if you're using a dried pasta, the starch, like you'll see. Like
Yeah.
when you have to cook, it's like the white stuff kind of,
Yeah.
that's the starch. That when you add that in here, it'll just
Yep.
thicken up. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. Yeah, basil, you can add that in now. You could add it in when we first started sauteing it too, or you can add it in at the end.
This is fresh now.
Yep.
What
Right.
can you use jarred or?
You can, at home, I use dried.
Oh,
I use
okay.
dried basil. I just don't want to have the hassle of having fresh stuff going bad in my house. I use dried rosemary, dried basil.
Okay,
It just gives you the
so
flavor.
there's no shame in using McCormick's.
No. I mean, here would be, but but at home, it's all the same. It's all the same flavor.
Tyler,
How
is
much
it
basil
gar-
do you use?
Is it a garnish or are we doing a chiffonade or? what do
Chiffonade, whatever.
Okay.
That's that. You can use it as a garnish. You can use it, as we were sauteing everything together. You can put it in there. You can put it in now. You're gonna get the flavor from it.
Okay.
It's not, it's not. You're not gonna not taste it. You will taste the basil, whether you put it on after or whether you put it on, now or when we first started sauteing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so
And then you want to make sure that your water is boiling as the sauce is it's cooking down.
you can see it's getting thicker.
Yeah, you can see kind of on the spoon.
Yeah,
It's sticking to the spoon. It's not running right off the spoon.
that's what you want. You want a little chunkier.
Yeah, you want it to stick, and that's what the cheese does. The grated cheese helps make it a little bit stickier, so it'll stick to the pasta. We use a lot of grated cheese.
Do you grate your own or
No.
no? You use it. Oh, good. I love this.
But to each own. If you want to grate your own cheese, grate your own cheese. We have shaved Parmesan. I could have taken that and just chopped that up and as fine as I could, and we could have used that.
Added that. Got it.
So if everyone's water is boiling, we can throw our gnocchis in.
Now most I
Yeah,
I don't
most-
cook like that.
Yeah, see,
That's
most people
easier
aren't gonna
though.
have a strainer like this. This is definitely the easiest way, especially when we're doing pasta. It's easy because you just take it and dump it right in. But at home, if you're just gonna pour the water into a pasta strainer, that's fine. This just makes it easier for us here.
Few minutes, baby.
If you just want to throw a couple in at a time, and then that way you just make sure they all go in separate.
A good handful to taste. Come back out. Oh, you don't dump the whole darn thing?
I was just doing just a couple at a time, just to.
Oh, to show. But
Yeah,
could
just
you?
to show. Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, we can dump them all in. Our water kind of boiled down a little bit, so.
You think?
And so if you don't have the strainer like this, you might want to have a spoon or a fork just to mix it around so you know they're not clumping up. They might seem a little clumped up, but once the water starts to boil again, they should.
Do they float?
Yeah, they'll float and they'll start bubbling around, turning around.
Tyler, one of the things you said about keeping pasta water, I think is really important. And a lot of people, when they drain their pasta, will rinse it, which is
No,
about
no.
the worst.
Yeah,
thing
It's a no-no.
I mean,
do.
you can like here, we have to pre-cook some pasta, so we do
Right.
end up rinsing it to cool it down.
Right.
You can do that, but obviously when you go to reheat your pasta, whatever water you reheat your pasta in, there's going to
Got
be
to use
starch
that
in it.
water. Yeah.
Yes,
Do you add oil to the water so it doesn't, somebody said,
you can
told
add
me.
oil.
okay, so it doesn't stick together, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can add oil. We'll add oil sometimes at the end after it comes out. So if you want, you can always too. I'm a big taste tester. You always test your food before you send it out. These I haven't done in a while. You kind of see it's still
Oh, cheesy.
not that. I would say it's a little raw on the
Oh,
inside.
oh,
Yeah,
I
you want
see.
it to come together and cook a little more. We'll just let them keep on cooking.
Washing dishes for
You don't have to do that.
Is
in
she
the
washing-
kitchen.
Sous chefs don't wash dishes.
In the kitchen, washing dishes.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. We want to earn our keep, Tyler. Question for Tyler?
Yes. How much basil did you use?
That was maybe like 3 or 4 leaves of basil.
Okay.
And just chop it up. It doesn't have to be chiffonade or anything. Just a rough chop of the basil.
And if you were using a jar, like a teaspoon, half a teaspoon?
Oh, of like dried basil?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like a pinch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go too crazy. I would just do a little pinch at a time. As I said, with basil, you want more basil at the end?
Add more on top.
Sprinkle some more basil.
Thank you.
So
You
when
take them out as they float to the top?
So you can let them all cook in there for a little bit. We're just gonna
Oh.
make sure this one, take like your biggest sized one out,
What are we looking for?
just so you don't see like any like raw dough on the inside.
All right, thank you.
when they're done, do we just put them in a bowl or do we put them into the sauce so they don't get sticky?
You would want to put them right into the sauce. Obviously drain it. Drain it. And then just let it drain. And from there, I say you want to get some of the water. I'm just gonna go like this. Just get some water,
Oh, the drips.
and then throw it all in there.
Oh my God.
And then we would also add, again, some more cheese. Just helps the sauce stick to the pasta.
Deb Houghton, did you have a question?
Can't hear her. You said no.
Okay, no question. Oh, Kathy.
It was
Harlick.
answered. Thank you.
Kathy Harlica, did you have a question, or is that the one that we just answered? Okay. All right, so you've added a little bit of water, you've taken your pasta, added it to the sauce, and
Yeah, I pretty much, the sauce I turned off. It's just sitting here. And now from here, you just want to cover the pasta in the sauce.
oh my God, that looks so good.
You actually maybe see, like, seems like a little thick. Add some more water.
Little drip.
Yeah.
By the way, it tastes delicious. I tasted one.
And that's
Beautiful.
kind of it there. And then, yeah, if you want to throw some more basil on it.
And look how pretty.
You can add some more cheese to it if you want to add cheese.
We're gonna move on to salad.
Plate first.
Well, plate.
On there.
Family style.
Would that be a serving or is that like
that's
two?
I can tell you.
I think the whole
After
thing.
they
That's-
go to the
a lot.
That's a lot of gnocchi, yeah.
That's a lot, yeah.
I mean, this is our full order. This is the plate that it comes out on.
Wow.
We say it's for like 3 to 4 people.
3 to 4.
You know, and then too, you know, if you're eating
Not
some
my house.
pizza, some pasta, you're
Yeah,
not gonna eat
it's a
half the
side.
thing, just
Yeah,
you know,
it's a side.
yeah, it's a
Side.
side.
Wow, it looks so good. Aggie, I'm breaking the diet. I'm having one.
Boy. I don't blame you.
Okay, so we're gonna set that aside and we're gonna make a real quick vinaigrette.
Yes.
Okay.
Any extra gnocchis, like I said, you could just put them off to the side. It's better to lay them out flat and freeze them. But if they do clump up when they're frozen, you could just break them apart.
Okay.
Um,
All right, so you're starting with mixed salad.
Yeah, just a
Whatever
basic
you
mixed
really like
salad.
in it.
Really, the point is just for a dressing, a quick, easy dressing, balsamic vinaigrette.
White balsamic. You have.
Yeah, I have a white balsamic. You can use a dark balsamic. The taste is a little different. And it's basically a ratio. If you're making a salad dressing, it's 2 to 1. So we have 4 fluid ounces of oil to 2 fluid ounces of a balsamic. It could be red wine vinegar. It could be dark balsamic, white balsamic, just a white vinegar. But it's always a 2 to 1 ratio.
Got it.
And you always want to, a salad dressing, you're making an emulsion. So you want to add everything but the fat. So your fat is the oil. And that's why you need to whisk in the oil. And that way it's gonna like bind together.
So you put everything in first and then the oil.
Yeah, you would slowly
My
drip.
mistake.
You would slowly drip in like the oil.
So that was the white balsamic.
I have a shallot here. We didn't chop that up, but if you want, you could chop it up. We can throw some garlic in there.
Ooh.
Some salt or pepper, some salt, and I have a Dijon mustard.
Teaspoon.
Yeah, teaspoon. So you don't even have to use Dijon mustard. At home, I just do oil and balsamic. That's it.
And then you mix all that up and then drizzle this in.
Yeah.
But you can't
Usually,
refrigerate that,
especially-
right?
Might be.
That's huge.
Yeah.
If you don't have a whisk, use a fork.
And then as you're mixing it, you can just slowly drip in the oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
That looks good. Smells good too. Do you find that wearing the mask is like, it's hard for me to smell and I don't have COVID, but
Yeah.
like it really inhibits the smell.
Yes.
Sometimes you just gotta put it back.
And if it
I
doesn't,
don't smell that.
you know,
Can't smell
emulsify
the
completely
mustard? Now
together,
it's gone.
it's not a big deal.
So how do you
Yeah,
know if it's
it's-
not come together? It's the separation?
You would see it. It's still going to
You can see
separate a
of
little
oil
bit.
drops.
Yeah.
But if you throw it on your salad and mix your salad up, it's gonna taste the
Yeah.
same. It's more about the ratio. You don't want to have too much vinegar because then it's gonna be so bitter you
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
2
if
to
it's
1.
too bitter,
Mm.
just add more oil.
Smells great, Tyler.
That's how my mom does her macaroni salad. Too much vinegar, add a little bit.
Yeah, you just balance it out. Me, like I like the tanginess of the balsamic, so I don't use as much oil. But generally, it's a 2 to 1 ratio. Two food ounces of oil, 1 food ounce of a vinegar. All right.
So good.
Um,
And then you just pour it over all over your salad, right?
Yeah.
And then toss it.
yeah, I mean, don't if you like a lot of dressing, dump it all on, but you do a little bit at a time.
My God, it smells so good.
Well, spoiler alert, this is what you guys are having for lunch tomorrow.
No, that's what I'm having.
That looks good. That looks perfect.
Looks delicious.
So come together your dishes. All right, any last questions for Tyler? All right, so I'd love to see your dishes. So please show us your dishes and send me photos at alumni@ndnj.org.
Question.
Thank you, Tyler.
So how did you get your sauce to thicken up? What was I supposed to do?
Just let it cook down. Let it simmer for a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then you can also, like I said, you can add some of the pasta water in there, but you really just want to let it cook down. Let it I mean, the pan is gonna be, it's sticky. It's gonna, if you let that dry up, it's gonna be very tough to, clean up at the end of the night. But not let it burn, but let it take its time. Let it cook down. The longer you let it cook, you might have to add a little bit more cream, or you can even add cheese. Cheese will help kind of thicken it up as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.